All right, this is a review of Metro 2033 Redux, the computer game, and the book at the same time. I was reading the book and playing the game at the same time, and the game does differ from the book. It actually, they each have their own elements. The things that's cool about the game is it adds a level of detail you don't really see in the book. Like it shows a detailed, like old subway ground car and the ruins and how people would use those to build houses and things to live in and rusty pipes and all that stuff. You don't really get that description. You get the atmosphere of it in the book. It's up to your mind to interpret it. But the book has better dialogue and story. It has really more in-depth, has philosophy in there, and it's mentioned in the game. But there's two or three really good speeches in the book that aren't in the game. And one is like a 2-page rant by his uncle or the guy that was watching Artyom, right? It's a 2-page rant, and it's really good. It's an argument he's having with Hunter. I'll probably do a table read of that with one of my actor friends. And the other one is at the very end. I haven't got to the very end of the game yet, but so far the game is it's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. But it's one of the, I would have to say the book is one of the best standalone. I know it's a series, but so far it's one of the best standalone science fiction books I've ever read. And it's because it has so many, it reminds me of listening to Art Bell on the radio, right here. So many different possible explanations for things. And they're all treated with seriousness, you know, even though they could all be hokey. And so it's very fascinating. Like each chapter is like dedicated to a different substation in the metro, and their philosophy on things, and the types of mutated enemies they run into, and the things that they have to deal with, and the difficulties they have. And I like how they don't do it. Like The Walking Dead, the bad guys are, zombies are annoying, and they can get you. But your greatest enemy in The Walking Dead is another person and other people. And how do you deal with that? So, whereas in Metro, it's, yes, other people could get you, or they'll most likely put you in jail or imprison you. They might, execute you. But there's so many other types of weird dangers, mutations. It's fascinating. And I guess you could almost say like there are sci-fi TV shows that have done that, like Buck Rogers, Space 1999, things like that, where a different episode or a different movie every week shows you a different type of danger. So it's almost like a season of a show stuck in a book, where each chapter is a standalone. Like, it would make a great TV show. A movie wouldn't quite do it justice, because you could make a TV show out of the book. Each chapter in the book would be its own episode. Yeah, I think it would be pretty fascinating. And again, the book diverges a lot there, at least where I'm close to the end of the game. The first like half of the game is almost exactly like the book, and then it kind of splits off and they do different things. It's still really fascinating. But yeah, because there are some of the dangers are other people or your own. It's fascinating how, and it's almost like real life when something is worrying you, and so you go to bed and you dream about it, and yeah, that's what you have a nightmare about. And the next day, it may not be a problem at all, or you think you might have a flat tire, or your air's low on air, right? And then you go to bed and you're having nightmares about getting a flat tire, and then you wake up and someone else has already taken care of it, like your brother, sister, mom, or dad, your wife, your husband. It's already taken care of it. So you wake up and that's not a problem. Oh, but you're going to run out of gas. So the book is written that way, right? It's written the way that he has nightmares about the things that have just happened to him, and the nightmares are unrelated to what's going to happen. And so I find that a very rewarding reading experience, because nothing that happens, it's a surprise when everything that happens. There's no foreshadowing. Most science fiction books, even fantasy novels, the best ones are the ones that surprise you. and you can't see it coming. So you'll be like, oh, he's having a nightmare about these zombies coming out. So clearly that's going to be the big threat. Or they may never be a threat at all, ever. So then he faces a weird mutated spider. So you're like, oh my God, these spiders are going to get him. Nope. Right. So, and it does it in such a way that it's literally leading you on with these little baby steps, right? Or these little breadcrumbs. And you don't realize that till the end. And you're like, oh, and then you see the hint of what they were really trying to go until the end. So the book is written very well, even though it's translated from Russian. It's a really good book. And the game is also good. Like, I wouldn't give it a perfect 10, but I would definitely a 9 out of 10. It's a great game. I haven't played the other ones yet or read the other books. I'm going to play Metro. The next one's called Last Light. So play it because it's supposedly a continuation. Then I'll read the next book, which is Metro 2034. I'll review that. And then Metro 2035. So I'll have to play the next game first because it continues this story. And then I'll have to read the next 2 books because the next game, Exodus, I think it's Exodus, is what happens in the other 2 books. So it's very good. I recommend it to anyone who's a lover of science fiction. Or if you like, it's called a shooter game, and I guess it can be. I didn't play it that way. I played it as, it's almost like survival horror. Reminded me a lot of the first Resident Evil, where you're just trying to not die a bunch of times from just random different things. Like it was very smartly done in that, again, the thing that can kill you every chapter is different. Like there's literally a different type of bad guy that you face. And again, that's different than what's in the book even. So very fascinating to me, I thought, how they did that, how it was written. And also in the book, like I said, the dialogue is great in the book. He actually has sit-down conversations with people in the what would normally call the dull moments of the game, right? Where you're just sitting there waiting to collect an air breather or something. In the book, those are the times where he's resting and thinking about things and talking with someone else about philosophy. And there's the philosophy about God, and there's philosophy about the devil. There's philosophy about the cultists who believe in the great worm that burrows through the earth. It's very well done in that each character in the book has their own philosophy and belief, and talks with their voice. And sometimes in some of the current novels, current books and stories, you don't see that a lot, where all the characters are true to who they are and what they believe, and their actions continue to follow that. Whereas like sometimes, like current day television, at least for United States American Western television, I'd say, you'll need a character to say a specific thing. And hopefully that's the character that aligns with their belief system. But it needs to be said to progress the story. And so you'll just pick a character to say it, right? And that's not the main character or whatever. But you don't see that. Like there are all these different characters. And yes, they progress the story, but the story is mainly what's happening to the main guy and how he's dealing with it. So it's very unique. I'm sure if I thought about it or did more research, I could find other stories similar. I think the Tad Williams series is similar in that you're following the main character and what's happening to him and seeing how he reacts to things. The Green Angel to Green Angel Tower, that series, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series, which is fantastic, by the way. Man, that guy's a great author. But I digress. So yeah, I definitely recommend the game and the book. And I'm definitely going to read the next book and play the next game and review those also. Again, if you like my channel, please like, subscribe. Talk to you next time.